Today's Talk About It Tuesday question is, in this market, are REITs a better investment than standard rentals? So the question of better or worse can't really be answered so simply because real estate is such a regional thing when it comes to what is profitable and what's not. So when we say in this market, I live in New York City. Right, I live in Brooklyn, and in New York City, I don't care which borough you're in, there is a severe housing shortage, which means we have far more people than we have inventory. And so even when the economy was somewhat depressed, the real estate rental market held stable. As a matter of fact, it pushed up a little bit because people weren't able to buy homes because interest rates went up. So when interest rates went up, home sales slowed a little bit here, but the rental market was strong. So I can imagine in a place where you have far more inventory than you have demand, say like Baltimore, because their population is actually dwindling. Their people are leaving. Then the real estate market in terms of rentals would be a little more depressed, except there, even in specific regions, right? So there are certain regions in Baltimore near Johns Hopkins and, near the harbor where the real estate market is booming in terms of rentals. So that's a difficult question to ask. Is it better? I think REITs are a great alternative to the rental market, or I believe a great addition to your real estate portfolio. I think everybody should diversify their real estate portfolio and not just be thinking about traditional rentals. So what is a REIT? R-E-I-T. So it's an acronym for Real Estate Investment Trust. So a real estate investment trust is a security. It's very much like a mutual fund, except that it only invests in real estate. So it can have in its portfolio a mix of commercial real estate, residential real estate, but the fund owns the real estate and manages the real estate, and you buy into the ownership in terms of a portfolio. So the good thing about REITs is that by law, they must distribute 90% of their profits to their shareholders. So you buy shares in this and they pay dividends. So the dividends, most of the time dividends are distributed quarterly, but there are some REITs that will actually pay dividends monthly. So monthly, quarterly, and in some rare cases annually, which means you're going to have some steady passive income from this thing. You also are alleviated of the liability of actual ownership of the property yourself. You are relieved of the responsibility of having to manage a property by yourself. The fund company does all of that. All you do is put money into the fund. They purchase and manage and take care of all the real estate. And this also diversifies the risk, right? So it mitigates risk by diversification because it owns many properties, as opposed to you owning one rental property, and if something goes bad with that one, then you're in trouble. This has a whole portfolio of properties, which means that the income is pretty steady. So I guess the question is, what types of returns would you be looking at? Over a 15-year span, REITs have been pretty much on par with the S&P 500. So they've averaged over the last 15 years, 10.6% annual return. So 10.6% annual return for just putting some money somewhere and not having to do any work at all and receiving passive income and getting dividends is a pretty good deal. So I think it's one of the biggest secrets in real estate. I'm really surprised more people don't invest in REITs, but I don't know if it's better. If you have a really good rental property, you should be getting more than 10% return on your money. But again, it's regional, and I don't think it's better or worse. I think it's a great addition to anybody's real estate portfolio and a great place to start if you don't have the skills and the resources, the financial means to buy a rental property. Doesn't take much. You know, some REITs will allow you to invest with as little as $25. So it's a great entryway into real estate investing. It's a great addition to anybody's portfolio just to add something without some extra work. So I love the question. I'd like to hear your experience with REITs and how you would compare your experience with rental properties if you have one. But please like, share, subscribe, keep the questions coming, and I'll see you next Tuesday.